I'm ready, believe me. I'm being in the ring with all kind of fighters.
Charlo.
Yeah, you don't, brother. You don't know. You don't experience this kind of level of fight. You will see, and you will learn.
You had a great opportunity, and you have fought.
You will see.
You fought some of the best in the world. That's cool.
Yeah.
We know. I understand that. Everybody in the world knows you fought the best.
You have a lot of skills. I know. I don't mind that. You have a lot of skills. But
you do too. You got some skills.
This is different, and you will see.
All right.
It's all of probably all of the physical advantages in this fight. If we want to be honest, he probably has every physical advantage in this fight. He's going to have the power advantage, in my opinion. He's going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the height, the reach. The one advantage he doesn't have is the mental advantage. And 70% of this thing is mental. Do you have the mental fortitude to go through the brick wall when you know it's going to hurt? Do you have the mental fortitude to keep fighting after you get hit in the nose? Mike Tyson used to say everybody got a plan until they get hit in the nose.
Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? JT here. I got Dub here with me. Together we make up in any arena. Let's go ahead and get into it. Listen, 2023 has been the year of the mega fights. I mean, we got finally Spence, Crawford, real the big fish. We might get Spence Crawford 2 before the year is out. But this is the fight that I would say is going to be the most competitive fight of this year. We've got Jermell Charlo, Saul Canelo Alvarez, Undisputed versus Undisputed. We got the Super Welterweight champion taking on the Super Middleweight champion, which leads to my point that everyone thought we would see Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez, the middleweight champion, against the Undisputed Super Middleweight champion. That was a fight that was being hyped. Jermell is going through some personal issues, taking some time off, which we commend. We salute him as he makes his way back to the ring at some point. So his twin brother, who is really the smaller brother, steps up to the plate, moves up 2 weight classes, 14 pounds, to take on Canelo. Dub, I got to hear your breakdown. What are your thoughts on this fight, and who do you have winning?
Well, let me just sing my high praises for both fighters to even want to take this fight and put their records at jeopardy. I mean, Canelo, he's approaching his 64th fight as a professional. He's been doing this for 18 years professionally. So when you think about the toll of the body, it is significant. So for him to persevere and to be able to be competitive and basically almost had a pretty much flawless record until you ran into Floyd Mayweather is commendable. He got Charlo, which, bro, he's a dog. You know, he's the undisputed champion at 154. Both of these guys are undisputed champions. And so you're thinking about Charlo, I don't want to keep calling Charlo. That's the last name. Charlo jumping up 2 weight classes. I'm a little concerned. When you jump up 2 weight classes. I don't know what he typically walks around at, his body weight. So for you to go to 154 to 168 in boxing, that is pretty significant. So Canelo might be walking around at 185-ish.
I think I would say, and not to cut you off, to caveat your point.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I would say Charlo is probably the naturally bigger guy anyway. Like, walking around, he's probably bigger than Canelo. He's 3 inches taller than Canelo. He has a longer reach. He's a naturally larger guy. And in a lot of those fights at super welterweight, he's the bigger guy in those fights. The same way we've seen, Spence has been pretty big in a lot of the welterweight fights prior to this fight with Crawford. He was one of the bigger guys, which was, boxing is a thing of like, hey, you hang around, you the big dog, you beat guys until age catches up and your metabolism slows down, and then you got to, continue to move up. Because you think about Canelo is, again, a super middleweight champion, but Canelo was fighting at welterweight not too long ago. So we're talking about 21 pounds difference. So I would say, I'm not too concerned about the size difference.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned, and I think it's more so of when you're so used to boxing at a certain weight, and of course these guys dehydrate themselves and put on weight before the fight, and of course there's a clause where you can't exceed a certain amount of weight prior to getting in the ring, right?
Sometimes, because everyone doesn't make you sign that clause.
I think you should. But needless to say, when you think about Charlo, his speed is his advantage. That speed, that pop. And when you put on weight, you typically slow down a little bit, just a little bit. It's not a significant amount, but it's enough to take a step back and think about his speed. And so you think about Canelo, who defeated Smith, tore his bicep, he beat Saunders, broke his orbital bone, and then Plant, he got TKO in that fight, but he damaged his left hand and he finally got it surgically repaired. This is after was it Bivol that he lost to, whatever the case may be. He tried to jump up.
A nice beat down.
Yeah, but he was nursing that injured hand. He just didn't take enough time to rest. I would love to see a rematch of that, by the way. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be a fight for the ages. I think if Charlo, if he can stay off the ropes and keep Canelo in the middle and move and work the ring, he might have a chance. But he got to stay out them ropes. He get on the ropes, he get in trouble early. It's not going to look too good for him.
Yeah. I would say, I think this is, again, we go back to size. I really think Charlo, despite the weight classes, is the naturally bigger guy. When you think about the super welterweight, he's huge for that weight class in comparison to the other guys. I think that, he has the reach advantage. He has the height advantage. Speed, I think he has good speed. Canelo has pretty decent speed too. Again, he's aging. So I think the one thing that Canelo just has is the pedigree. And I don't mean pedigree in terms of, being born into it or brought up. Canelo's fought in a lot of championship fights against a lot of high quality Hall of Fame level opponents. When you think about the trilogy between Triple G and Canelo, both Hall of Famers. Triple G didn't actually get any of those. He had 2 losses, 1 draw. It should have been 1-1-1. Should have been a win for Triple G, the draw, and then another win. That was a perfectly even match. Those guys together are like, Hagler and Hearns. Like, that's the type of matchup we had with Triple G and Canelo. You think about Canelo fighting Mayweather, earlier in his career. When you think about him going up against Bivol, after he had moved all the way up to light heavyweight. I mean, this guy's been in big time championship fights across 5 major divisions.
Crazy.
Right? And so I think you have to look at that pedigree of been there, done that. He's been there, he's done that. He's been in Vegas doing it. And not to say that Jermell hasn't. I think Jermell has all of probably all of the physical advantages in this fight. If we want to be honest, he probably has every physical advantage in this fight. He's going to have the power advantage, in my opinion. He's going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the height, the reach. The one advantage he doesn't have is the mental advantage. And 70% of this thing is mental. Do you have the mental fortitude to go through the brick wall when you know it's going to hurt? Do you have the mental fortitude to keep fighting after you get hit in the nose? Mike Tyson used to say everybody got to plan until they get hit in the nose. And again, Charlo's coming in here with all the confidence, with all the gravitas. I respect it. Regardless of how this fight comes out, I respect that he said, I'm going to move 2 weight classes up and I'm going to fight the guy that everyone says is the guy. Because if he beats him, he solidifies himself as an all-time great.
High risk, high reward. High risk, high reward.
High risk, high reward. And he got the gravitas to say he's going out there. I think this fight is going to be a tough one for Canelo. It's going to be tough for Charlo as well. When you look at Charlo, Charlo's only fought 3 times since 2020. In his last 9 fights, his last 9 wins, 8 of those have been knockouts. Okay, where he wasn't able to knock an opponent out, he went 1-1-1. So you look at it, 9 wins, 8 of those knockouts. The one that wasn't a knockout, he was able to get a decision, but he needs probably a knockout in this fight.
And then ain't happening.
Do you get it against Canelo? I gotta agree, Dub. Not happening. It's not going to happen unless somehow Canelo's chin is now made of glass, whereas it hasn't been for 63 prior fights. I don't see that happening. I don't even see him putting Canelo on the canvas. So he's going to have to win by decision. On the other hand, though, I think the same thing is going to go for Canelo. You're fighting a bigger guy. I don't think Canelo's going to be able to knock Charlo out. I could be very wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to be able to knock Charlo out. I think this fight is going to go the distance. And I think win, lose, or draw, people are going to have a different perception about Jermell. They're going to say that he's a dog. I got Canelo winning by decision. Again, even if it's a close fight, like I believe it will be, we got to think about it. Canelo has the advantage in Vegas. He's the big dog. So if it's close on the cards, it's going to go Canelo's way.
Yeah, and one little thing to point out too is Canelo's training camp is actually in Colorado. I think he's in Lake Tahoe. So that is a competitive advantage as well because you're training at altitude.
Right.
And so being able to breathe and get through that rigor of training is going to translate very well to the fight. So I'm pretty sure Canelo is probably thinking, I'm going to have to take it to the deep waters in order to beat this guy. And then when you think about Charlo, Houston native, you think about Spence, Dallas native, they haven't been looking too good for Texas as of lately. So I just hope that he can put up a good fight, but I think this is going to be a knockout by Canelo in the later rounds. I want to say about round 9 or 10, he's going to put him on the canvas.
We ready for Saturday night. Give us that big one. Let us know what it is in the comments. Give us that CLS treatment. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll be back with more from It in the Arena.